You ever feel like you're working so hard but still not getting the clarity or traction that you want in your business?
Yes, I have actually. But hello, everybody. This is my wife, Kylene Montgomery. I'm Aaron Montgomery, and between us, we actually have two books here. The one that we wrote together called The Gratitude Shift, and then I've got my book here, The Fundamentals of Business Success. So, our personal mission is to guide people to find a deeper love for what they get to do each day. And Kylene, I believe today's episode is going to do just that.
Yes. So watch the entire episode for lots of practical advice as we unpack the top 5 questions that we hear from business owners. And the goal really is for us to help us all understand what these questions really mean once we dive in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And, we want to talk about some things that you can start doing today. And this is not about doing more. It's really about doing what matters. And, you know, you guys know me, I'm the business plan guy, right? It all starts with a business plan that's actually designed for you, right? And so what I encourage you guys to do, appreciate everybody tuning in here, hit that like button, make sure that you share this with a fellow business owner, maybe grab a pen. I've got my marker here, so I'm looking forward to learning from Kylene. And I think this episode just might change how you approach your business, especially when it comes to business planning from this point forward. But we really want to answer what we hear are these top 5 questions. So you stay with us till the very end, get in those comments. And should we, as you would say, let's do this, Kylene?
Let's do this. I'll even do the arm for you.
All right, we got the arm and everything. All right, well, let's dive in.
Okay.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling separate, fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right.
I'm still laughing at that part.
Still giggle. I wonder if every time you watch that, you go, man, I got to shove Aaron soon. It's been a little bit.
I really enjoyed it in that video.
Yeah,
so.
it does look like that. All right. Well, as we kind of started off in the top there, you guys, we're going to talk about kind of what we would consider the top 5 questions here. Before we do that, we want to say good afternoon to Chuck. Chuck, thanks for being here. Again, if you guys are tuned in, jump in and say hello. And what's the question that you've got on your mind right now, right? Let's see if it falls into one of these 5. So Kylene, you and I were talking about this and just kind of thinking about, what are some of the questions that we have? What are some of the questions that we hear, when I'm on a coaching call, when I'm offering workshops or seminars, or even in our mastermind group? I have people come up to me at shows and ask these questions. And as you and I were talking about it, these are questions that we think about ourselves and ask ourselves in our own business life. And not again. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that these are the exact questions, but the pattern of what these questions are kind of what we determine are kind of the top 5 questions people are asking. And Chuck says, I'm sure Lewis doesn't sound that young anymore. He does not. We actually were just measuring him today, and he grew an inch in the last month, and he is now a good 5 inches taller than Kylene and only about 4 inches shorter than me. No, 2 inches shorter than me. So he's well on his way. Yes, Craig, thank you. And also Chandler and Craig, was not sure if this was live, right? So we have been doing some recordings and posting them. What I would encourage you guys to do, though, is if it's a recording or posting it, just play like it's live. Put your comments in there. I look at those. I go back to them. I reply where there makes sense. I do want to make it a discussion, no matter if this is recorded or not. But this is live today, so thank you for asking that, Chandler and Craig. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. So we appreciate that. And because I thought he was getting taller. Yes, he definitely is getting taller. So back to these questions real quick, Kylene. These are the top 5 questions that, kind of patterns that we've heard out there. And here's what I love about them is that once people start asking questions, they are off to the races. That's what we've got to do. We've got to start asking questions. A lot of why questions for sure is my favorite thing. I know it sometimes drives you crazy a little bit, Kylene, but here's the other thing to understand about these questions. I need feedback discussion. There we go. Yep. Right. Pom-poms out for the live. All right. We're gonna prove we're live here, you guys. All right. So, but back to these questions. This is what's so cool about these questions is it gets us started. What we've determined though is that these are actually more signals than they are the questions that we've got to answer to be successful, right? Because when you start digging deeper into them, you start to understand what the actual questions are that we need to be getting into. So I thought what we do here, Kylene, is you share the question. I'm going to make a educated guess as to what it might really mean for us when we're asking these questions. Mm-hmm. And then we'll discuss something like we want to get right into. Here's some things you can do right now. So does that sound like a good plan?
Yep, let's do this.
Let's do this, as Kylene would say. All right. So what's our first question that we kind of have determined is a top question pattern-wise for small business owners?
Yeah, and this is probably my biggest question too all the time. How do I get more customers?
Yeah, how do I get more customers, right? And as a business coach, I'm pretty sure I get that several times a day, right? And I see it all the time, right? What happens is then we go out there and we start searching for that magic bullet, and we, I was talking to a new business owner the other day, and they had gotten a marketing proposal, and it was only going to be $5,000 a month for brand new business. And they were asking, what do you think this is a good deal? I'm like, I don't know if it's a good deal or not. As a new business, though, I don't know if that's really going to move the needle than you giving that person $5,000, because what are the results that they're guaranteeing you for that $5,000? Do they even know who your ideal customer is? So I think what the real question is that thing, right? Do you know who your ideal customer is? Because once you've identified who your ideal customer is, then getting more customers just means getting in front of and being more clear to those ideal customers, right? It's creating that clear marketing plan to say, oh, because if I'm trying to talk buddy, that's difficult, right? Like, Kylene, if you were trying to talk to everybody on Facebook, do you think they'd be listening? How loud do you have to be?
I do not think they'd be listening. Plus, okay. I would have the tendency to be everything to everyone because I don't know who I was serving, right?
Yeah, exactly. Clear. Yeah. But when you're clear on who your ideal customer is, then you go, oh, okay, well, I know where that person hangs out. I know how to talk to that person. I know what's important to them. I know what problems I solve for them. And now that becomes a relationship building opportunity. And then you can go out and get more customers because you're just talking to those types of people. And it's no longer how do I get more customers? It's how can I help my ideal customers? And so once you've identified that, it kind of changes the question, right? Does that sound like yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Chandler got a discount version of that, paid $3,000 for hers, and I didn't get any new customers from that marketing plan. Absolutely. So, again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that that's not a good use of your money. What I'm saying is, if you're not really extremely clear on what your who your ideal customers are, what is from a business foundation, because no matter how good that marketing company is, they will never know your business like you do. And so if you don't have clarity on that, and then getting very clear on, okay, what am I getting for that $3,000, right? Again, you might get a lot of value out of that. And maybe there was learning opportunities and good things. And I've spent money on stuff that didn't give me the ROI that I was expecting. But it certainly moved me forward, right? So maybe it was
Mhm.
worth it a little bit, right? I would do it differently the next time, i.e., paying for somebody to build a website. But anyhow, um, uh,
Twice.
yeah, and because Chandler says now the one I made for free, now I'm half full, right? Like
Yeah.
exactly, because you know the business, you know exactly who you're looking for, what they need, and we've got tools out there like AI that can help us with some of that. Now, once you get into that rhythm and you know who they are and you know what how they respond, then hiring a marketing agency to like build the funnel and turn that volume up. Okay, that makes sense, right? So again, I'm not going to say that we're not supposed to do that, but what's something that they could do this week, Kylene, that might help
Um,
them have a more clear understanding of their ideal customer and a marketing plan?
Yep. So this is where you would want to write down your favorite customer that you've ever worked with, and then list out the reasons why you enjoyed working with them. What made them unique, and what did you enjoy about it?
Yeah, yeah. So can we play with that, Kylene? Am I okay to put you on the spot here and make you my guinea
Sure.
pig?
I think
What do you
I
think?
expect it now, but yes,
Huh?
I
I
expect
can.
it now. Yeah.
You expect it now? Okay, I was gonna say I can be the guinea pig if you prefer, but I think it might be a little more powerful if you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so answer that question. Who's and you don't have to tell us the name because I know it's me. You guys didn't hear that, did you? I said I know it's me, but no, I know it's not me. So to tell us about your favorite customer ever. What made them great to work with?
Well, they were open-minded to trying
Open-minded.
something different.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
that was huge, and they were wanting growth and change in their life, and they were staying positive and hopeful as they were moving through it,
Okay.
um, and showed
And
up.
and what was the struggle that led them to you?
Lack of energy. They weren't feeling strong, or they were in pain, things like that.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
And what was the unique identifier about them? What made them different than other people that were lacking energy and in pain?
They were open to doing something they'd never done before, um, when they showed up.
Okay. How did you know that they were open to doing something they'd never done before
Uh,
they showed up?
because I had asked if they had ever done yoga, for example, what we're talking
Okay.
about. Um, and they said they had done some on YouTube and things like that, but they weren't connected to it.
Okay.
But after the feedback from the class, they immediately felt different, and were connected.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is kind of how to kind of break this down, right? Because you started with how do I get more customers, but then
Yeah.
you switched and this is my ideal customer, and let me get really clear and specific about them. And so then the next step, and we won't get into this because we just don't have time for this today, but we've done this in other episodes, and we'll do more of this in the master class for business planning. But the next step really is to go, okay, so now I know who that is. I know what makes them unique. I can even, if you remember the language that they used before or after working with you, it's really important to write that stuff because that's the language that you now can use and should be using in your social media posts, in your email marketing, in your conversations with other people, right? But the next phase is really to go, okay, how can I talk to more people like that?
Hmm.
Right. So again, we're not going to go real deep into that, but anything off the top of your head, Kylene, about how you could talk to more people like that?
I mean, I think it would be to, um, share. I mean, I have to tell people, do you want to feel more energy and more strength?
Sure. Yeah.
And
But
then maybe
okay.
she will
Yeah.
go.
I'm going to stop you because you're reverting to your your VA world here, where you're just going very general. So
Oh,
what? And again, I'm not going to push you all the way through this, but this is the kinds of things that I want people to do on their own. Is when you start getting into that generalities, just stop yourself and say it's okay, cool, but this is important. I need to be specific. Like, how can I specifically talk to more people? Yes, sharing it more, but what does that mean, right?
yeah.
Like, uh, are you going to all of a sudden start taking out television ads and telling more people, or are you going to, have a town hall meeting, or like get more specific about it, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. All right. You want to try real quick before
You can go. You can continue on if you want. Unless you,
how would you share more, Kylene?
I mean, I can go to networking events where there's other
Okay,
women.
perfect. There you go.
And
That's specific. Yep. Go to other networking events around the wellness where there's other women showing up that, spend more time with people that are helping in a similar fashion. I know you're already doing that. Like, how can you develop those relationships? So, yeah. So once you start getting those specifics, now you've got a real plan, right? Now you've got a way to get more customers. And
yes.
so, yeah, turn that around. Okay. What's the second question that we hear a lot, Kylene, or ask ourselves a lot?
Yep. How much should I be charging?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, another one of those really great questions. Oh my God, can we make Kylene commercials? Absolutely.
The most awkward commercials ever, probably.
Thank you, Chandler. Yes. All right. So, how much should I be charging? Back to that real quick. And again, a really great question, a really great place to be starting from. I think deep down we know how much we should be charging, right? We can should on ourselves like that. But really, I think the question is how can I be more confident and charge what I'm worth, right? Because deep down we know what we're worth, but we're not quite willing to do it yet because we're not confident yet, right? So I think that's what people are really saying. And so what's something that they could do this week right now, Kylene,
Yeah.
to work on that?
Well, just understand what your fixed monthly costs are. Write all of those down, and then the time that it takes you to complete an order or a service.
Yeah.
How long? And then once you have that understanding, that starts that foundation of what you should be charging. It starts
Yeah.
the process.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. And as Chandler said, how much should I charge? How much am I worth? That's the question, right? And
Mhm.
but what as business owners, again, it's very difficult for us to truly be able to charge what we're worth because this is your superpower. This is what you were put on this earth to do. This is your God-given gift. This is what you're good at. And so it comes natural to you, right? For Kylene, it comes very natural to be calm, to understand these yoga sequences, to be willing to listen to her body and the people around her. And so it's really difficult to go, oh, well, that's a really valuable service, right? Because to everybody else around Kylene, that's a very valuable service. But to Kylene, it's her core, right? And so it's hard to do that. So what we need is some way to really quantify and prove to ourselves that we are putting forth value, that we are expending our own resources, right? And so when you start listing off your fixed monthly costs, you know how much it costs you to be in business. Well, that then tells you, okay, I'm putting this much of myself into this. So I need to at least get that back for these services, right?
Mhm.
But then you start adding in, okay, how much time am I putting into this, right? And so if we're using Kylene as the example, right, she could go, oh, well, my class is 30 minutes. Well, is that all the time that you put into it? How about the several hours that you spent building the sequence? Sorry, I couldn't
Mhm.
remember what you call them.
Yeah.
Building the sequence, right? Or for somebody like Chandler with the grace period, right? How much time is she putting into reaching out to other folks, right? On top of the business expenses that there are and things like that. Or Chandler's 80/20, for example, right? Like there's the time invested. I mean, even the stuff that we're doing with, let's say, American print on demand, right? Which is the cut and sew fulfillment stuff. Rob and I were having a conversation about this the other day. Is as much as we love having these calls with people to kind of help them and hold their hands a little bit, we can't charge enough for that to do that every time, right? So how we improve that onboarding process so people have what they need, they're able to be successful, but yet we can still charge them what we need to charge them to keep the business operating and for everybody to be able to make some money. right? And so when we get out of that, oh my gosh, how much am I worth, into, okay, here's a specific bit of information that I can work from, now I have a much better chance to start charging what I'm worth, right? And so, the idea here, Kylene, and I'll let you share this. I think we want people to just pick one thing, one product or service, and then ask some questions. So share that with them, please.
Yeah. So some of the questions: does my price cover my costs, my time, and do I earn a profit? And you can go to the Pricing for Profit Masterclass. It's on the website. I don't know if you have a link or anything.
Yeah, and I can put a link, but if you just want to go to oursuccessgroup.com, if you go to training and workshops, you'll see profitable pricing webinar series, and actually just had somebody sign up for it just today, actually. And so you could still go register for the free webinars. And if you are wanting to do kind of a little more one-on-one work with me afterwards, totally available to do that. It'll give you all the information about how to sign up for that, and we can do that. So $1 billion, Chandler says. So there we go. We now have the number $1 billion.
I know.
That's what you thought too. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. What's the third question here?
Okay. Number 3, how do I stop doing everything myself? This is a good one.
That is a good one, right? Okay. Who here is a solopreneur, right? I think most people that are tuned in live right now are solopreneurs, but let us know, right? And maybe you feel like you're wearing all the hats, but I think what we're really saying, because I know when I'm in alignment, when I'm feeling like I'm moving forward, I feel like I'm serving my purpose. I want to do everything, right? Time just flies. I could do it all day without even blinking an eye, right? Kylene's got to remind me to get up off the chair.
Yeah.
Craig says, me and I. Yeah, those are his employees, me and I. And so I think what we're really saying there is, I'm a little burned up and I don't know what to let go of.
Yeah.
Right. And we're probably doing a lot of busy work because we don't know exactly what to do. And so we're just doing to do. And that's okay, right? Like, I think when we're stuck, to just do something is a great idea. Do it and see. But don't just keep doing it, right? You've got to stop and listen to what those actions are telling you. But what's something that they do right now, right away, this next week, that might help them with this?
Okay. So you're going to do a time study. So to do that, you're going to track everything you do for 2 days. So you understand where your time is going.
Yeah. So doing what in Masters of Success, we talk about this, is doing a time study. Yeah. In fact, weren't you doing one not too long ago?
Yeah, I was.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
We kind of let that slide and just go away.
It did.
Sorry to bring that up.
That's all right. I think I remember. I never even reflected. I did track 2 days, so I have the documents. I just haven't looked at it.
Okay, so that's the first step. Good, you did the first step. High five. Let's get some pom-poms.
Yeah, I get pom-poms.
Yay, good job, Kylene. Now, what you were just talking about, what's the next step, right? Yeah. And the quick stuff that you could do right away is just highlight any tasks that are repeated. Maybe they're tasks that drain you, or something that might be easy to teach somebody else, like a remote VA or something like that, right? Just pick one of those things and either automate it, document it, and ask somebody else to help you with it, right? That's like the quick, easy, boom. The bigger picture, the bigger thing that you can do when you start thinking about your plan, because one of the parts of our plan is, in the numbers game, understanding our time, is start looking at, okay, what am I actually doing, right? Because when we start getting honest with ourselves, right? So, and I'm not going to, yeah, I will, because it's just what I do. Kylene, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here, right? She knew what was coming even. Man, I gotta
and I keep showing up here.
Yeah, I know. What does that say about you? Or I don't know. But okay. So for those that aren't familiar, Kylene is just take care of our family, and she goes to work every day. The government agency she's working for now requires them to go into work every day. anyhow, don't get me on my,
Let's get started, Aaron.
don't get me started on that. But the reality is you have to drive into work every day. It's a, what, a 45-minute drive?
Half hour to 40 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the reality is by the time you leave, the time you have to kind of start walking out that door, the stairs, park, walk in, right? Because you leave at 7:20 in the morning.
Yeah, because we have security. We have like
Yep.
airport security to go through.
Yep. Yep. So you leave at 7:20. You get home at 5:20, right?
Yep.
Okay. So do the math there. That's not 8 hours.
No.
How much time is it? I really don't know. So do math.
10 hours. 10 hours.
Okay. So every day of your 24 hours, 10 hours are used at the VA, right?
Yeah.
And so then you sleep for how many hours, right?
Yeah.
And which maybe isn't a lot, right? And so maybe there's the adjustment that needs to happen there. But my point is, again, I'm not trying to pick on Kylene. My point is, once we get really honest with ourselves about where our time's really going, because, okay, you leave at 7:20, but what time do you start getting ready for work, right? And then once you get home at 5:20, what are you doing after that, right? Because you got to decompress. You maybe had a boss that was a pain in the butt, or a client that I don't know what you guys call them, but a veteran that you work with that maybe didn't quite get it or is a little bit selfish or whatever. These things happen. So 10 hours turns into 11 hours or maybe 12 hours, and then you take good care of us, and then you sleep. And so for your business, in that smidgen of time you've got left, you've got to be really intentional with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just again, Kylene's a great example of this because she really understands this, and she's really kind of becoming honest with herself about what that means, and where you go next, right? So thinking about that, Kylene, not the me picking on you, which I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be really clear for everybody. Where do you go next from there?
Well, now you have the information. Now, if that is what my situation is, I can make choices moving forward. Do I choose to look for a different place of employment that would allow me some of that time back, right? That flexibility. Maybe using the time in the car as more productive hours. Maybe it's crafting a way to, I don't know. So this is where, like real life, this is where I do get stuck, trying to find, because I'm teaching on Wednesday nights, and I teach Thursday mornings sometimes, and Saturdays. So, there's a lot
and then
of
you
work.
host Coffee Talk every morning that you're not doing that. You got Masters of Success, our son's volleyball stuff, right? So it can add up quick. And it's funny because I do get asked a lot. I mean, you even say to me, I don't know how you do it all, right? And I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and tell them I don't get overwhelmed. But what I'm learning is when I do get overwhelmed, it's a sign that I'm just not doing the right things, right? I need to clear the decks, and I need to look and say, okay, what am I saying yes to that I need to say no to?
Correct.
Or, was it really important for me to, like this morning, I almost got into a little bit of a discussion on Facebook with somebody that I didn't even know, right? And I'm like, what am I doing? Stop. This person doesn't care. They were making posts on our friend of ours stuff where he was talking about having an abundance mindset. And then somebody was complaining about how they only got a $25 Christmas bonus, but yet they're making their company thousands of dollars. And I wanted to go, well, why are you making them thousands of dollars if you're not getting the value in return? Leave and make yourself thousands of dollars. But they wanted to complain about, that, like, how unfair it is. Well, okay, but you're choosing to stay there. Well, I need the job. Okay, so add more value to that job to where you get paid what you think you deserve to get paid. And if you're not going to get paid what you deserve to get paid, why are you staying there? It's not the only job in the whole world, right? So
Yeah.
anyhow, so I don't want me to get up on my high horse here, and but I stopped myself, right? So I could have done that. I'm still thinking about it, obviously, so I'm giving time to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
Well, I think, just in general, the time study just gives you the information you need to see where, like you said, what you can say no to in the future to maximize and do more of the right things, and say yes to those that fill you up and energize you instead of drain you. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's really
yeah,
important.
for sure. This is a wonderful, wonderful question from Chandler. I'm going to give it to you first, Kylene, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm happy to jump in, but I don't want to put my opinion on top of this first. I'd love to hear yours first.
Yeah. So Chandler wrote, in the timekeeping, should we just work or all? Should it be just work or all passions and values like family and self time too? I think it needs to be all of it personally, because that's you as a person. Because that is how you are choosing to use your time, and so you can't just be all work, right?
Mhm.
Because there's more to Chandler than just going to work or running the grace period. There's more to you that's important, and that's what keeps you energized and filled. And so that's why it's important to see how you. There's no like real true balance, but balancing is looking at ways you can continue to make it all of you all the time, kind of, for
Yeah,
lack of better words.
yeah, yeah.
Um, is that what you were going to say, Aaron?
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I think this is a great question from Chandler. I think she knows
Yeah.
the it as well, and was setting us up with a really great question here. Because yeah, I do want to make that everybody's super clear on what I'm saying. As we do this time study, it's not about okay, I just give all the rest of my time to my business if I'm working, right? It really is about. I think ultimate success is finding, like you were just talking about, finding that balance in all of it, right? So if our personal mission is to help people love what they get to do, uh, that doesn't what we're not saying is love having a business that they run all the time 24/7. Like if you love getting to go to work and do something, then we want to support that and help you with that too. If you
Yeah.
love, right? And so without the self-care, without the family time, without the I just don't see how you're going to do it, right? Even a workaholic like me, if I don't take the time to go, drive and do a volleyball thing with my son, or I go play volleyball myself on Thursday nights, or we go to church on Sunday mornings, right? I've got men's group on Friday mornings. Like those things are equally as important, and they become big rocks on my calendar compared to the working, getting this done, moving this, doing that, right? Like those, they all become like, I can't wait. Let's go, let's go, let's go, right? But then if I don't sleep enough, then I don't feel that way. And then I'm just going through the motions, right? So it's all about that balance of finding what works for us. So,
Yeah.
um,
Just bringing that awareness to it for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Chandler says, is there more to me? There 100% is, Chandler. One of the big things we love about it. All right. So, Kylene, we're already, more than halfway through if we keep to what I originally said at 45 minutes, but I'm pretty sure this one will be a little bit longer. So that was basically the plant section, right? Those are the first three questions. And so
Mhm.
now we want to get into the kind of the prepare phase a little bit, where we're starting to shift from guessing into clarity. And all these things that we've talked about so far and what we're going to talk about from here aren't fixed with hustle. We fix them with alignment. And to me, this is where the real deep value of a business plan comes in. It's not this corporate binder. It's actually a living tool that answers the real questions behind all the noise that you're faced with every day. And we talked about this pretty extensively in the previous couple of episodes. So if you're still on the fence about a business plan, I'd love for you to tell me why. Argue with me here in the comments, and not argue with me. You know what I mean. Prove me wrong here in the comments, and I'm open to listening to that. Right? You can change my mind. I've changed my mind before, or we can do it privately. Right? It's really just more of a how can we help each other be more successful. But from a business plan perspective, right? What are some of the other questions that we can add here, Kylene?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to dive into these last two questions here. And so Number 4, what do I do next? I think I've asked Aaron this many, many times.
Yeah, yeah, and this is where I think this is also where it came up. A lot of small business owners just want to be an employee with an opinion, right?
Yep.
Um, because
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I think what we're really saying when we're okay, what's next? I don't know. I'm stuck, right? I don't know what to do next. I think what we're really saying is I'm overwhelmed by all of the noise, by all of the weight, by all the tasks on my to-do list, and I don't have a clear direction, right? So as I said earlier, it is good when you're in that place just to take an action. But what you do with that action is most important, right? It's take an action and then actually take the time to, like with the time study, right? You didn't really reflect on it. You took the action. Now the next step is to reflect on it, right? And not saying you didn't, it just you haven't had that chance to yet. So
Yeah.
to get real value out of that action, now you got to reflect on it and say, what is this really telling me about my direction? Do I need to do that? Right? So give us one thing that we can do right now this week, and I'll try to dive into that a little bit deeper.
Yep. Okay. So you can choose one goal that matters to you, with just one goal, and then write down what success looks like for that specific goal that you selected.
Yeah. And get really, really specific on what that goal is. So, for example, yesterday, the folks that were part of the Goal Getters program at the beginning of the year, we had our monthly check-in. We do a little FaceTime and had a couple of amazing people there. And one of the, so the last question that we all talked about together, what's something we're going to do this month that's going to get us closer to our goal? And, everybody's kind of first inclination was, I'm going to do all these things, right? I got all these things I got to do. I'm going to get better at this, right? And so we stopped, we paused, and we said, let's break that down, though, right? In fact, Chandler, do you mind if you use your what you shared? Because Chandler was one of those folks on that call, and so I'll hold off on using that. But it was kind of like getting to one goal, one thing, like one clear step that you can take right now, right? What's the next simple step that will get me closer? And because I think our inclination as humans is to want to do all the things. Right? Like I've got a huge list. I've got all sorts. I'm actually at that phase of so many things happening right now that I've got like Post-it notes where I've taken notes and they're just kind of in this big clump, right? And I'm going to take the time to like, okay, there was a lot of good ideas on there, but are these ideas that important, or can I just file them away? And so Craig says my commute has been books on tape and podcast for the past year, right? And
Love that.
and here's the part that we get to see as friends of Craig, and kind of watching his journey from the outside looking in, because he's been so gracious to share that journey with us in the Entrepreneurs Hub, is that the progress that he's made in this year, you can tie those things back to books on tape and podcasts and listening and taking action. And man, it's just incredible to see. He's out there doing markets now. His photos are being shared in places. He's winning ribbons. I mean, some cool stuff. So
You're doing awesome, Craig.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Chandler gave me the permission to share. Thank you, Chandler. So Chandler's kind of idea was, okay, I need to contact all of our partners. I need to reach out to everybody. Was I think kind of, I'm paraphrasing, I believe. And yeah, absolutely, that's awesome. But when I heard that, right, internally, I'm going, oh, that feels like a lot. That's a big elephant to chew, right? If you, that's a big step to have to take. So what can I really do in this month, right? And so Chandler was able to then break that down and go, okay, there's a bunch of people in the chamber that have been partners that, I've been sending kind of a newsletter to, but I'm finding that, there's not that deep connection. So they're kind of falling off. And there's about 150 people in this group. And I'm going to make a concerted effort that in the month of August, I will try to contact personally each one of those people, right? Now, it's still a big number. But when you come from that place of it's still a big number, but you can still break that down, right? There's, 30, it's August 31 or 30, 30 days. I can't remember. Whatever.
31. 31. Yeah.
31 days in August, right? Divide 150 by 31. Now the number gets smaller. Or maybe you're only going to use the weekdays. Okay, divide 150 by 20. Now the number gets smaller. So specific, 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 as Chandler said. So,
Yeah.
all right. So we're going to take care of something there real quick. All right. We got that removed.
Got it? I don't know how to remove it. I was going to remove it.
Done. Done. All right. Yeah. Specific, specific. All right. So that's number 4, Kylene.
Okay.
Don't try to do all the things, just the right next thing.
Yeah. All right. So question number 5. How do I stand out? I like that one.
How do I stand out? Okay, but I'm going to leave breaks for right now. How do I stand out? Yeah, that's a good one. It is a really good one, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, heck, I've been around like all the coaches that I've been a part of through Success Principles stuff. I was really ingrained in that community for a while. My own business coach helped other coaches, and so I was hanging out with them and stuff like that. Or right now I'm doing a lot in the DTF space, and everybody and their uncle is selling DTF stuff. And even working with Chandler at the Grace Period, everybody seems to have a nonprofit these days. And again, all good stuff, nothing to complain about. But you ask that question, how do I stand out?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think what we're really trying to understand is what makes us different, and how can we clearly communicate what makes us different? Because we're not all things for everybody. We are specifically for our ideal customers in a specific way. And the more clarity we have on that, the better we're going to be able to do. So what's something that people could do right away this week?
Yeah. Ask a happy customer, what made you choose me over someone else? And I think that response is going to give you a lot of good information.
Yep. When you say, why did they choose me? Why did they pick me over someone else? If you don't know the answer, Kylene, what do you suggest people do?
Ask. I mean, you reach out to them, send them a message. Hey, do you have a couple minutes just to chat? Or if they're purchasing, follow up with an email. Or if someone gives you good feedback, you can reach out to them. Or if they keep buying from you, that would be a great sign that they're happy with their service.
Yep. You're exactly right. I mean, just ask. And here's what's important when you're asking that, right, is to really be, and this is where I struggled and still do a little bit, because I hear things, but I don't always listen the best, right? Like, I'm not hearing what I want to hear, but sometimes my brain goes so that I'm translating before I actually listen. All right. Does that make sense, Kylene?
Yep.
Do you see that in me? Is that true?
At times, for sure.
Okay. All right. And again, not in a negative way that I'm not listening. I've got to remind myself to slow down. And when I do that, and what I want you guys to understand is really truly listen to why they chose you, not just kind of the general of why they chose you, but the specifics and the specific language they're using. All right. So, because like for Kylene, I talked to her about what it is that she does for people, and she tells me, but what I'm hearing from other people, yes, it's the same at kind of surface level, but the words are different, right? Like the words that I'm hearing when people are talking about Kylene are the calm, the peace, the joy, the gratitude, the happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And Kylene talks about positive transformation, right? And energy, and right, but that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same thing. So how could you use that language in a social media post, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would be incorporating how they're describing me as the experience that they have when I'm sharing what it is that I'm offering. like you said, the positive transformation is happening, and that's how I see it. But
Mhm.
everyone else is seeing it this other way. But I would have never known that until,
Yeah, yeah. And
yes,
and again, I'm not picking on Kylene. I've had this very same thing. Like for me, what I see is cultivating an uncommon mindset in business owners by equipping them with fundamentals to build fulfilling goal achieving businesses. But what I hear once I finally started listening and started asking other people what they're hearing is fall deeper in love with your business. Right. And so when I changed that conversation, it really changed how I was connecting with people.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you have more clarity on what it is that makes you unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does clarity equal, Kylene?
Confidence.
Yes.
That
And and what does confidence do?
attracts.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. All right. We got the formula. Clarity
Yeah.
equals confidence, which then attracts your ideal customers. Huh. Pretty simple formula.
Yeah.
Sounds simple at least, right? But all right. Well, let's wrap this up, Kylene. Let's talk about kind of the pollinator. Okay. And we already gave you a bunch of action items, but we just want to pack this with a ton of practical stuff you can do right away. And I just want to be really clear that the point of a business plan is not to impress someone else or just to fill out worksheets. It's not the doing. The real goal of a business plan is to give you the tools to stay anchored in your, and let me be very clear about this, your, am I clear enough with that? Can I make that more bold? Should I yell at the top of my lungs? Your version of success. All right. And so Kylene, what does your version of success mean?
Well, for everyone, it's different. We all have, but if I can share my gifts with someone, with creating that positive transformation, that's my version of success.
Yeah.
Some
And what's
people it might be very different. It could be
sure, sure.
a
But
number.
yeah, but I guess my question was more of what's the difference between the two, right? Like sometimes we go, oh, this is what success is, but it really is somebody else's idea or society says this is success,
Yeah.
right? Like I've literally had people come to me that I've worked with that said, well, the last coach that I tried to work with told me that I was never going to be successful until I had a storefront. I was like, legit, somebody's out there being a coach and telling people that if they don't have a storefront, they're going to fail. Oof. Right. Now, knowing who was saying that, it made sense. But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, come on now. Because the reality is, what your idea of success is only your idea of success.
Yep.
Like I remember, when I first started our success group, when Todd and I were kind of getting things rolling, I definitely had that, like what others thought success was, right? Like you had just been through a program that was like 0 to 100K, and we were kind of
Mhm.
playing around with that idea. And anyhow, I ended up talking to one of the people that was with us early on, kind of, and just finally asked you, okay, well, what's your goal? Why did you start this business? And she's like, I just want to make a little extra money so I can spend my retirement years doing fun things that I've always wanted to do, like going on cruises or things like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how much money is that? Maybe $10,000-$20,000 a year. That would be like the cat's meow. I think I'm not sure that's what I did, but that was like a real light bulb moment for me. So if I worked my tail off and pushed her to 100K, she wasn't going to be successful because that's not what success was to her.
Yeah.
Right? She didn't need bunches of stuff, right? She needed to stay in her zone of greatness, make a little extra money, and still enjoy her retirement. So that was a big eye opener for me, Kylene. And so, yeah, like you talked about, it's different for everybody, and so it's really kind of, I think, if you were to pinpoint, Kylene, I would say it's loving what you get to do without the burnout. That's success. Yeah. Right? And I think our plan should reflect that. So how do we make it real?
Yeah. So there's 5 small, powerful actions that you can answer to help get that clarity with this. So do you want to just go back and forth through this?
Why don't you share them, and then I can add anything to it if that
Sure.
does that work for you?
Yeah. Okay, so first thing, map your ideal customer. Um,
Yeah.
Write down their top 3 problems, where they hang out, what excites them, what makes them
Yep.
unique.
Yeah. And that's really just kind of playing off of what we shared at the beginning, right? Like
Mhm.
just identify who that ideal customer is. Okay, let's take that to the next step then. What are their top 3 problems? Where do they hang out? Right. And what excites them, right? So we kind of did that exercise a little bit with, but get a little more specific and put it down on paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What's
All
number
right.
2?
Number 2, review your pricing.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to share the rest of it?
Sure. List your expenses and then how much profit you want to earn. And then ask, is this price helping me build the business I want? Are you going the right direction?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, we talked a little bit about this already, but take it to that next step, right? Get all of your expenses, look at and what kind of profit that you're interested in, and then be honest with yourself, right? Because the second number in our numbers game is our pricing strategy, and so your pricing strategy includes your expenses, your profit, and the time all together. So that question, is this pricing helping me build the business I want? That is really your pricing strategy. Because if that price isn't helping you build the business that you want, then you've got to improve your pricing strategy so you can improve your perceived value and charge the price that is going to help you build the business that you want.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
so give us number 3 and give us the whole thing.
okay. Simplify a system. So choose one repeating task this week and either document it or find a way to automate it or batch it all together. Just one repeating task.
Yeah. And that kind of grew out of what we were talking about, the time study, right? And again, when we look at our time study, what we realize is that we've got more on our to-do list than we have time in the day. So A, picking the things that are important, but then B, how can I get more efficient, right? And so repeating tasks, automating it, batching it, things like that, those will all go a long way to improving that sense of overwhelm.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Okay. Pick one priority. What is one thing you can do this week that aligns with your big picture goal? And then block out the time for it. Schedule that meeting for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say schedule that meeting, Kylene, that's I'm so glad that you shared that, because I want you to take that even one more step further. Schedule that meeting and then act as if that's a meeting with the most important person you could ever meet with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a one last chance to talk to a loved one. It's meeting with the, I don't know. We used to be able to say president, but I don't think anybody cares about our presidents in the United States anymore. But from that level, right? Like the most important person that you could ever meet with. And if you don't do it at that time and that you chose right then and there, the opportunity is going to be gone. I want it to feel that impactful and important to you, because it is. If you're picking out one thing that's going to help you get closer to your goal, then that truly is the most important thing that you can be doing in that time. And so find that time that works, block it out, set that appointment, and then show up for it.
Yep.
All right, number 5.
All right, this is a good one. Celebrate a small win, even if it's tiny. Just that forward motion is going to build that momentum and raise your vibration, and then you're just going to attract more good things to you. So keep celebrating.
Absolutely. In fact, maybe we can do this as a group. Those that are tuned in live right now, or if you're watching the replay and you want to be in the comments there on the replay as well. What are we celebrating, right? But so go ahead and put it in there. Craig and Chandler did this yesterday in the Goal Getters program, and you can reuse or you can add a new one. I'd love you to add a new one. So while you guys are typing that in, and I'm seeing we got a number of people live here besides Craig and Chandler. I know Chuck was here earlier. So I'd love to see it from everybody that's hearing this right now. Can you take a moment and stop and just put in a small win that you've had over the last, let's just say, month, right? Maybe it's a little bit longer, maybe it's a little bit shorter, whatever. So I'm dragging my feet to give people, because I know there's a little delay before you hear this. So I want you to start typing right now. But do you have something? Do you want me to start? Or how do you want to do this?
You can start if you want. Otherwise, I can share. I have. I have one.
You have one. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a
Several.
lot. So that's why
Yeah,
I'm
I was gonna say I have several, but yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, no, you know what? I always make you go first. I always put you on the spot. I'm gonna step up here, Kylene.
Okay.
So here's the win. I got to spend a ton of time in the car and then at volleyball with my son last Friday. Um, time for it. Didn't. It was silly. It was probably a waste. If you were to just look at it on the surface level, it was a waste of time and maybe even money. But it was one of the coolest experiences I ever had. We had that time. He wasn't on his phone the entire time. We actually talked about his strengths, values, and passions for a bit in the car. Um, there were a couple of things that happened that, like, in my past, I would have been all frustrated about and upset, and it just was what it was. I ended up getting locked out of the gym for 45 minutes with food for the coaches. So, yeah, so that's my win. I've gotten lots of other things and I've accomplished a bunch of stuff, but that keeps showing up for me as just a really cool opportunity. And I appreciate Kylene supporting us in that.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great that you guys were able to have that time.
Yep.
For me, one of my small wins is just connecting with other wellness people in the community. I had a short, it was a team meeting at the place that I am teaching on Wednesday nights. I was able to get to know the other instructors there a little bit more and just
Nice.
hearing ways to collaborate. And, it was huge. It lifted me up and got me excited, and it does.
Nice.
It's huge. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm super excited to see where that leads and what the next steps are. That's awesome, Kylene. Congrats on that. All right. Chandler says, I'm celebrating being here. Honestly, absolutely. Had some rough stuff going on, and I'm super proud of you, Chandler, for just showing up and being who you are and loving and caring and on people. Chuck says, had a sale last week doing what I love. Yes, love it. Perfect. And I did my first outdoor market. How or what is the celebration? And I don't have pom-poms. Well, I've got pom-poms, so we'll do this. There's some pom-poms. Now, if you don't have pom-poms, you can go to Amazon and you can buy party poppers. You get about 12 of them for $15 and plan to clean up your house for, I don't know, months on end. What else?
Or you can go to Amazon and buy pom-poms.
Or you go to Amazon and buy pom-poms. What are some other ways to celebrate, Kylene?
Oh my gosh, you can celebrate by just writing it down at the end of the day. Write the 3 things that you're proud of, that you can celebrate, that you accomplished. I think that's huge. You can share it on here. You can share it on the Facebook group. You can share it with your loved ones. Yeah.
So if I can encourage you guys, I would just say that every single one of you that just typed something in here, just celebrate it. That's the first step. The second step, though, is to also, like you said, post it, share it, whatever. Now, I think what's key, though, is when you do that, are you taking a moment? I'm not saying like 30 minutes sitting cross-legged going, just take a moment and reflect on it and actually let pride wash over you. Not like fish pride, but let that accomplishment wash over you. And that's the celebration, right? The celebration starts, I'm pointing at my chest. The celebration starts in here. So really good stuff. Awesome. All right. And go Chuck, go Craig, woot. All right. Well, Kylene, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for going through these with me. Thanks for allowing yourself to be a guinea pig here and there, but also for all the information that you shared today. Really, really enjoyed this. Any closing thoughts, Kylene?
I mean, I think it's just something that we have to be intentional for, and there is help out there if you just need some help getting to that next step. Go ahead.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, if you do want to take this further, I think most of you are signed up, but if you're not signed up yet, join our business planning masterclass and workshop where we will guide you through the exact process to build a clear, aligned plan that reflects your version of success. All right. Again, your version of success being key there. And if you'll use the code SBS, Small Business Saturdays is the acronym. So SBS, you will get free access to the masterclass and you will get a discount off of the workshop. All right.
Ooh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's going to be great. And it's really going to help you do everything we just talked about here. Even
Absolutely.
more.
Absolutely. All right. Well, where does lasting change come from, Kylene?
Yeah, that positive energy. So just remember that gratitude is your superpower. Embrace it and let's keep growing together. And then we'll see you guys. Will we see you next week, Aaron? I don't remember.
So we won't see you. It will. Yeah. So since you guys were honest about being live, I love that, and I appreciate you keeping us honest. Next week, it will actually be recorded because I will be teaching a class during this slot next week. But I think you guys should tune in at noon on Saturday. I interviewed a good friend of ours, Karen Pickering, and we talk all about relationships and how that's a strategy for success. So I think you're going to want to hear this. I recorded it with her yesterday, so I'm really excited to hear your guys' feedback on that show next week. And Kylene, I will go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to share a little bit our quick 60-second promotion for the business planning masterclass coming up here, and called Business by Design. And I think that will close us out for the week.
All right, sounds great. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye. What if you could finally turn your ideas into a clear, doable plan? Whether you're just starting out or trying to get unstuck, clarity changes everything. The Business by Design program gives you the tools to take control of your direction, pricing, marketing, and time, all without the overwhelm. It starts with a 2-day masterclass to clarify your vision and structure. Then, if you're ready to build your plan live, join our implementation workshop where we write it together step by step. This isn't about writing some fancy plan that never gets used or something to turn into a bank. It's about building a path that fits your life and your goals and personal style so you can walk away with something you will actually use. Join the masterclass at oursuccessgroup.com/business plan and let's build your plan together.